Okay, we're back with another video. It's 6:31 a.m. and it is August 19th, and I'm headed to work right now. Looks like it's a beautiful day right now. It's going to be like 101 today, which is going to be very today, which I'm not too happy about. For the last few days, I've kind of enjoyed the nice weather, even though it's like within the 90s. It was still, tolerable, I guess, where I wasn't extremely uncomfortable as I usually am. So, I'm still kind of releasing a lot of my anxiety and trauma that I've experienced. And, I was watching I used to watch a lot of Activism of Care's videos, especially when I first realized I was a targeted individual. And, he was basically talking about how these people cause long-term damage in more ways than one. But most, I think he was referring to the psychological damage that these people cause. Now, in my mind, I don't feel as though I have any, I've never internalized any of the things that these people have done, because I know that what they did was wrong, okay? But I feel as though what they've done has caused, friction with other people because of the rumor campaigns and their assumptions, and they're not being able to deal with their suspicions or their assumptions instead of talking to me, which really, if they would have brought their, their assumptions or whatever to me, I would have basically looked at them and thought, okay, well, first of all, I don't know why you would be thinking that, but it would have been nipped in the bud. And so I know that oftentimes when you are a scapegoated person, they use you for so many things. Like, not only do they do that to, bolster their own ego, but they do it for social status as well. My family is not what you call the kind of people that are, they're not go-getters. They're not the kind of people that, are very social. They're not the social choice of most people, okay? But what makes them have the connections that they do is because they use me as a scapegoat, meaning, they try to present themselves as, oh, I'm this like do-gooder and she's this wayward person, and they point you out as somebody who is flawed, basically. And so people, their angry behavior and their just animalistic, I don't know, they tend to become explosive regardless of whether they know you or not, and whether the accusations are, true or not. Obviously they weren't, but first of all, when your family is stalking you, which they have been doing that for very many years, they're doing this for their own entertainment, like, and then they get angry and competitive and jealous over stuff that and they use these excuses so that they don't have to deal with the fact that they are doing this because they are basically evil, miserable people. So they'll use, people will bring up religion and all this other stuff, when even though they themselves are not living a life that's what I consider to be even close to being righteous, right? You get tired of, being the blame or the scapegoat for everyone's problems. And that's pretty much the whole issue when it comes to being a scapegoat. So I understand, what goes on in the life of a scapegoated person. I fully understand that, and I don't take that personally. I don't fit there. I don't feel like I'm inadequate, or I'm not worthy of having friends, or I don't feel that way. I don't. As a matter of fact, just the opposite. I know that I'm worthy That's one of the reasons why they hate me. They hate me because they have to use scapegoats in order to establish themselves. They can't do that on their own. Now, I'm very selective about who I associate with, especially now because of the, what do you call it? The perps that these people had activated. They activated their minds into being what I consider to be intrusive. I was also thinking how I don't even really want to hear anything from people. Like, just I'm keeping everything on a very, what do you call it? Casual, like this hi-bye or whatever basis. The reason why is because oftentimes when I was dealing with these perps, they always had some sort of agenda. Now, I don't particularly I'm not the kind of person that looks for compliments, although these people will assume that you do. I know when I was talking to this one lady a few years ago, I went in for one of those big fake job interviews that they set up, and oftentimes when people are complimenting you, now when I compliment somebody, it's because it's sincere. It's sincere. Like, if I see a woman with a nice, I don't know, clutch bag or something, I will say, oh, that's really great. When I see something that looks great, I will say that. But what these people will do is they'll throw out compliments that are, thinly veiled compliments that are really their anger, their pent-up frustration, perhaps even jealousy, in disguise. So I don't really want to I don't want to hear compliments from anybody, period. I just don't, I think that when I do things, I'm doing them for myself. It's not about other people. It's not. It's about things that I like to do. And my former family might do things because they're trying to be flashy or whatever, and they're very materialistic. But I just, I enjoy certain things, I like certain patterns or whatever, and then those are things I get. But when I was being perked heavily, when I was getting compliments on stuff, like for example my hair or whatever, I was finding it, I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. I don't like people commenting on my hair. I don't like people doing anything like that because of the fact that generally when you are a targeted individual, what people are complimenting you on is exactly the thing that they're trying to persecute you for. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, and I don't need people telling me, oh, like, for example, like I know when my brother-in-law, my ex-brother-in-law, Jim Culligan, the dickhead, right? When he would see me, he would say, oh, you look great, Maria. You did a great job. You lost weight or whatever. You did a great job. And that's the very thing that they're using against you to target you, And so I don't care what other people have to say. What they talk about doesn't interest me. I don't care if you like my shoes. I don't care if you like my hair. I don't care, whatever. I don't want to hear it anymore, period. Only because, I don't trust people anymore. And I don't really care what they have to say. When I do things, I do it for me, not for anyone else. So I'm just dealing with trying to find motivation again. That's my biggest issue right now. I keep thinking, my gosh, I really want to be, excited. I want to be, bubbly. I want to be happy. I want to be, looking forward to life again. That's my biggest issue. And it's something I'm struggling with because, I've been dealt this ridiculous blow that I was completely unjustified and done in a way that I feel it was extremely abusive. And so you wonder, okay, I know I need to pick up the pieces, but I have so much on my plate to try to figure it all out. I do not want them stepping in and trying to fix it because I will not ever want to have anything to do with these people. Rotten, evil people, I'd like to say. I would love to say, add that in there. But I'm dealing with that, the feeling of, not being excited about life like I used to be. And that's really important. I'm supposed to be that way. That's how I'm the kind of person, I like being enthusiastic about everything, and so I'm trying to find that again, and it's hard. It's very hard, because everything that I'm surrounded by is their creation, and I don't like anything about these people at all. I mean, like, at all, So those are my biggest issues, and I feel as though I've said enough when it comes to my anger issues. Sometimes things come back up again, but it's all pretty much the same line. It's pretty much the same, what do you call it? Stuff, just the fact that I'm angry that they took it upon themselves to even involve themselves in something that was mine. My what I do for a living is mine. It's like, I can't even understand how somebody would, in their mind, I guess if you're extremely jealous and competitive, and what makes me so angry about this whole competitive shit is it shows how frivolous they are. Now, I'm just somebody who works in an office. I'm not like a certified public accountant that makes a shitload of money. I'm not any of that. I'm just somebody who works an office job, who has good skills, and that's it. But these people are so cutthroat and so angry and evil that they really feel as though, like, I'm working for, like, I don't know, some big organization or something that deserves all this, or that warrants all this, like, rigorous, controls. It just really boggles my mind. It really does, and I just can't get over how evil these people are, how absolutely wicked. And so I also deal with the fear of, what do you call it? The fear of the trauma, meaning, like, I don't want to have to deal with anything that reminds me of what I had to deal with. I really don't. And so, oftentimes when you deal with these perps that they used to activate, they'll come by and they'll say something that, reminds you of the targeting issue. And I don't want to be, I don't want to deal with that anymore. I struggle with being motivated and that stuff. And really, I think people who have gone through this, they do need some sort of professional help. Not that I feel like I need professional help to, I just want to know, how can I start again? Like, what do I need to do? What do you do after you've been targeted for a very, very long time? And how do you feel safe again? It's very, it's overwhelming is basically how I feel. And I'm overwhelmed, and I'm angry a lot, and then, I've been getting some sleep, but there's nights where I don't sleep very well, and I think about all the obstacles that these people have created, arrogantly created, not thinking for 1 minute that I had any right to say anything about my life. That to me is just so, how could I like these people? It's impossible. It's impossible, So anyway, I have some cleaning to do at my house today, and I'm trying to get everything all fixed up. I meant to do it last night, but I just didn't have any motivation, I went to bed around 11 o'clock last night, and, I was talking about that TV show called Extreme Beliefs, or Cults, or Extreme Beliefs, or whatever. Anyway, no, I've never signed up for a cult, but sometimes cults attach themselves to you, and oftentimes it could be a cult member from a family, such as Jim Culligan and Tanya Culligan. They are definitely a cult, and they feel as though, you're supposed to be a part of their cult as well. I would never be a part of their cult, ever, you know. And I see the long-term damage that a lot of these people are going through. Many of the people that were talking are basically expressing how it does kind of overshadow their personalities in a sense where they're constantly feeling this weird feeling in the back of their mind because the damage that these people cause is just unspeakable. It's like, you know, like I said, I never signed up for a cult, but these people were trying to enforce their bullshit into my life. But I don't want to. I would never want to be a part of something like that, you know. And what makes it the most traumatizing is that, you know, during this, for the 4 years that I've been on YouTube, I've been crying out for help, you know, basically telling my previous employers I didn't want this to happen anymore. Please leave me alone. Da 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 da. And that's what makes it feel like rape. It feels like I've been raped, or I've been extremely violated, because, you know, these people were manipulating so much and didn't have any concern about what I was feeling on the inside. This was some sick competition. And when I think about their mental illness, I know my sister's mentally ill. I think that Jim Culligan obviously is mentally ill. He is definitely a weak-minded person, okay? And then also he has a very dominating attitude and doesn't respect the rights of women at all. I mean, you know, I'm not married to that motherfucker, but, you know, he seems to think that, oh, well, you know, he can make decisions, family decisions for people. You know, the family decision was made a long time ago, and I don't care what my mother says. My mother goes along with stuff because she's just a weak woman. She knows nothing about the world. But, you know, like I said, when I was 18, I was able to do whatever I want. And this is what I choose to do with my life. This is how I choose to live my life. You know, I don't want to live my life any way that relates to Tanya and Jim Culligan or anybody else's lifestyle. You know, my lifestyle is mine. I mean, I have every right to live the way that I want. I'm not hurting anybody, you know. I'm happy with my life. I am. I just don't like the fact that I regret the fact that I was born into that family. I know that my life would have been so much better had I not been born in that family. But you can't change the past. The only thing you can do is try to reshape your future. You know, and that's what I'm trying to do. But after years of the abuse, it's hard, okay? It's very hard. But I don't really have a choice but to try to move forward. I can't live like this. I can't be stagnant, that's for sure, you know. But it's really hard because now I see people differently. You know, whereas I used to be more warm and friendly, I'm not really as warm as friendly as I used to be, and I have to be that way. I have to be more reserved, you know, because I've lost trust in people completely. I've lost total trust in people, which makes sense, you know, and I see how weak-minded a lot of people are for this to be, you know. I believe that Karen Johnson sees what happened now. She understands this issue now, and I believe that Steve Murray understands this issue now, okay? But what bothers me so much is that, you know, I was referencing laws, you know, basically telling these people, when I realized my family's involved, I said, get these people out of my life, they're stalkers. And it was like, nope, you know, we're still going to go with the program. And it's like, I will tell TIs that in the beginning, you're going to deal with a lot of this denial type stuff. You're going to I'm not talking about denial, I'm talking about denial from the perps, okay? The people who've been conned into cooperating with this nonsense. They're going to think, well, wait a second, this is her family, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, she's just upset over some other reason. She's just upset because something else, whatever it might be. It's not, okay? You have every right. If you don't want to have anything to do with your family, you have every right to disown them. You do not have to sit here and cooperate and be trafficked like you are. And they didn't understand that in the beginning. I feel as though they understand it now, you know, because I've stood firm, and I've been, you know, the reason why I feel like they understand it now is because I'm kind of thinking, well, if they don't understand it now, then they're just fucking retarded at this point, okay? But I do get that feeling that they do understand it now, that I was a scapegoated person, and that my family is just some people who are extremely jealous and competitive and just want to, you know, manipulate other people's lives out of jealousy, competitiveness, whatever, you know. And so this is a trick that a lot of employers, you know, get fooled by, okay? And so for people who are watching this video, who might be a business owner, a manager, somebody who hires people or whatever, you need to understand that this sort of thing is illegal, okay? And I know that it's tempting to be fooled by people who pretend to be caring individuals, but oftentimes when these so-called caring individuals are hovering around, they're creating all kinds of chaos and activating, perpetrating attitudes, or what I call it, harassing type attitudes in the people in the workplace. Okay, so when this goes on, there's harassment going on, and you've got, you know, these families that are working things behind the scenes. Let me tell you something. These people are not good for this person, okay? These people have like some sort of vendetta against the other person, and they're working it out in the workplace, and they're using you know, the employer, as a tool to do what they want to do, which is abuse people. So anyway, I'm almost to my destination. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Do what you can to try to motivate yourself. It's hard sometimes. Sometimes, you know, I listen to some old music. Sometimes that helps. You know, some of my old pajamas, those are fun to wear. Just do something that's going to change, you know, make you feel better. I was thinking about, you know, I know they have bus tours sometimes. I mean, I can't really do anything about that right now. But, you know, I've been thinking about how do I kind of get out of the house, because I don't really want to drive for long periods of time myself. But maybe they have bus tours that go outside of your area, your immediate area. Do something like that. Just get out of the house for a weekend or so. Get as much, you know, time outside. Yes, going for walks. And I know when in my situation, they sit there and they monitor when you go for a walk because they want to make up stories about you. Well, no, get out of the house because you need to get out of the house. You can't be cooped up in the house all the time. Go for a walk. Go to the park. Just do something that's going to make you feel like you're breaking the routine. The routine is not good. It's not a good routine to be on, okay? It just isn't. I know that sometimes people have volunteer work. If you're not happy with what you're doing for a living right now and you really want to get out and do other stuff, I know that they have volunteer work. Now, mind you, the volunteer work that they have here in my local community, I don't really see anything that I really want to participate in. You know, sometimes people can donate their time to homeless shelters or whatever. That's not necessarily a bad thing. If you want to do that, then do that. If you want to, I know some churches, like I think the Catholic Church, they have things where you can help, you know, the needy, working like in their, I think it's like a laundry facility or something, and then, you know, preparing food and stuff like that for them. That's not a bad thing to do. You know, just do something to get out of your routine, whatever it might be, you know, is a good idea. So that's what I'm trying to look to do right now, and just trying to get myself together. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be back with another one some other time. Take care.